Or maybe first you can see in their eyes. You can see the determination in their eyes. Actually, maybe it sounds like a joking, but it's actually serious.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Backers of India's Best Ideas. I'm your host, Dhimant. In the show, we will discuss the role, the journey, and the involvement of some of the most renowned venture capitalists behind some of India's favorite new age brands. In today's show, we have Teru Sato, and Teru will be sharing with us his journey of building BEENEXT and his journey of backing some of India's best ideas. Welcome, Teru. Welcome to the show, Backers of India's Best Ideas.
Well, thank you, Dhimant. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for inviting me to have this opportunity. Thanks.
Great. So, for those of you who don't know, Teru Sato is the founder and managing partner of BEENEXT. He's attended the United World College in Italy and thereafter graduated from Cairo University. Teru is a founder first, before an investor. And in fact, back in 1997, in partnership with SoftBank, he co-founded CyberCash Japan, which is now known as Veritrans. It's an online payment company. And in 1999, he co-founded BNOS, which was formerly known as NetPrice. And as the CEO, he took it public on the Tokyo Stock Exchange in 2004. In 2014, December, Teru resigned as CEO of BNOS and is now based in Singapore, investing in and advising startups across the globe. Teru, in fact, has also been selected as a young global leader by the World Economic Forum in 2008. And when it comes to backing some of India's best ideas, these are brands you probably use on a daily basis. Some of the brands that Teru has been a part of are Milkbasket, BharatPe, which you use for payments, Droom, Mall 91, and MPL Gaming. These are all backed by Teru's firm, BEENEXT. Welcome again, Teru. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
All right, so I'll jump right in. Teru, we would love to hear a story of an investment that you made that really means a lot to you and your personal journey as a venture capitalist.
Right, yeah. So as you kindly introduced, my background is entrepreneur, tech entrepreneur myself. So when I was at the age of 21, I just had a fortune to build this, one of the very first payment business in Japan. So since then, my whole career is really identify the next opportunities in tech, utilize tech in a good way to build a value to the society. So I think first set of my journey was really to build myself, to run a business. And the second half is really to support the next generation entrepreneurs who are trying to make the changes by doing further innovations. So that's our journey.
So that's amazing, Teru. Thanks for sharing that. And we'd love to hear a little more about what was your very first investment that you made.
So around 9 years back in 2011. So actually, maybe let me start a little backward. So I visited China around 2008, and then I had a fortune to collaborate with Alibaba. So I visited their headquarters 2009
Right.
to join this 10th year anniversary. Now, what I recognized there is, because I was building my business in Japan, running my business in Japan. And what I recognized when I visited China, Hangzhou, Alibaba office is that, this platform is really more like a social platform in the sense that everyone is really getting fostered, empowered by this system. And then I also recognized that, maybe I missed a big train, which is this Chinese internet train. So that was 2009. And then soon after, what I started thinking, in this whole planet, where are other geographies which can potentially, have a similar trajectory that Chinese internet economy had? And then, of course, I'm from Japan. I'm from Tokyo. And I looked around Asia, and then landed in first in Indonesia, and then soon after to India. So since 2011, I have been actively investing in these emerging Asia countries, including India and Southeast Asia. And then the very, very first investment in two companies in 2011. So in my view, when you look at the internet economy in every large economy like the US, Japan, China, they're always king and queen. And the king is always a marketplace. So it's like eBay, Amazon, Alibaba, Rakuten, these players. And the queen is a payment. It's called Alipay, and then there are also some other payment business also I was also launching in Japan. So this is the initial emergence of platform businesses, and if they marry, this king and queen married, and it's going to be a huge, long-lasting dynasty. So that was my observation in my days. And then in Indonesia also, I followed my thesis. So two investments that I made was, one is a company called Tokopedia. That became the largest local marketplace in Indonesia. And another company is called Midtrans. That became also the local largest online payment gateway, which was actually acquired by Gojek afterward.
Okay.
So this king and queen thesis really, somehow inspired me, to drill down, get into each market, starting from Indonesia.
Wow, that is amazing to understand this whole king and queen concept. So the marketplace and the payment that manages it. So does that explain what you've done in India? Because I know Milkbasket is a marketplace,
Right.
BharatPe is a payment company. So that's very interesting. And do you think this king queen concept kind of is relevant irrespective of the country? Do you think so?
So, for those platformish businesses to grow to a very large scale, you need one more factor, which is the population. Because it's a network effect business,
Right.
where you standardize these, many supply side and demand side, right? And you streamline the business loop there. You need a certain size to make a big, meaningful size businesses. So, or for that aspect, of course, India perfectly fits this thesis. And then, of course, country like Indonesia or Vietnam that we also actively invest really fit it with this thesis. But starting from there, now, of course, there are more like queens and princesses. If I continue talking about the thesis, like, like queens or princesses would be more verticalized domain, like fashion or B2B or cars, real estate. But again, same, like too much demand and supply, and then build a trust with in between, and then also wrap it up with more, payment, other fintech services, including insurance, credit scoring, lending. So starting from transaction, and you facilitate more as a fintech the transactional marketplaces. So that's actually a little bit more evolvement from the initial thesis. But I think the base thesis is quite similar. So when it comes to BharatPe or when it comes to Milkbasket, you can see this type of strong network effect. And then also, in addition, there's a very strong data network effect. So, and then also just getting into India story, what's fascinated me is this huge volume of data, rising up from this country. And then if we think of course, algorithm or machine learning, AI, it all requires, of course, data. And then data is a byproduct of human activities, right? So then, of course, it's naturally India as a country is becoming a data-rich country, of course, thanks to these, low-cost smartphones, penetrations, and also very much low-costing connectivity evolvement. So now India is really becoming a data-rich company, and then combining with this marketplace network effect, and then this data volume and its network effect, and it's becoming really gigantic business opportunities across the nation and across the categories. That's how we've been thinking.
Got it. Got it. Very interesting. And then one of the the things that we see, right? So there is this whole marketplace model, that is payments, but it's not like every marketplace is able to scale because there are so many challenges with it. Supply side, demand side. There's competition like Amazon, which is, once it enters a country, it tries to capture and become the market leader, and all of that, right? So there are lots of other external factors also. I'd love to understand, Teru, from you. So how do you identify a promising idea and you say, hey, this sounds like this has potential, this can really become big? How do you think about it?
Right. Yes. First of all, I think also from my background, from our experience, we really think that every business would start from small, and then from small team, like literally every company of the world, Fortune 500, they also started small.
Yeah.
So then it's very natural for us to identify the founders, entrepreneurs who have a high capacity, and then more importantly, or most importantly, with a very strong determination. So determined founders will be never poached or never spoiled, because they will keep fighting to achieve their vision, to crystallize their idea. So determined founders has to be there for the first place. That's universal across any countries. Second is about the timing. So when it comes to these, large horizontal platform plays, then there is a moment for these horizontal players to evolve. And then there's a moment for those verticalized platform would evolve. And then when it comes to, let's say, payment infrastructure has been keep evolving.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this, for example, just as an example, in India, this emergence of UPI is also triggering another timing for a company like BharatPe or anything that rides on UPI rail. But it was not possible 5 years ago because of the UPI was not existing there. And maybe it was a little too early 3 years ago because it was just started. So, these timing, riding on big tide, as well as riding on good waves, with the super determined founders, with large enough business domain, then it's just really go. And then we would try to back them, and then try to go through a whole journey from the very early days of the journey.
Great, thank you so much for sharing that. That's very interesting to look at. The determination in founders, the timing, as you rightly said, is so crucial. And of course, being in a large enough addressable business domain. So, and now when I kind of think a little deeper, Teru, in this, right, I think the timing we all understand. The large enough market is of course needed, because otherwise you're not building something of scale. But this whole determination in the founder, right? How do you gauge this? What, like, are there specific things that you look for in a founder which gives you this conclusion?
Right. Well, if I say my opinion, well, maybe first you can see in their eyes. You can see the determination in their eyes. Actually, maybe it sounds like a joking, but it's actually serious.
Wow.
Because because it has to be determined, right? It has to be very firm, in the sense that whatever it happens, I will do it. And then these guys will do it, right? So I think that's really one point that I've been trying to sense, how serious, how committed, how determined the founders are. So they will be the last standing man, last standing woman to run the business. So that's one. And I think this determination also would come from the cause or purpose or background. Why? Why are you building this? Why did you think that this will be my business that I would start doing it? I think this cause should be also, clear. Otherwise, because this building business is tough.
Yeah.
Day and night, there are actually much more tough times than cheerful times when you're running business, especially when you're building business. So I think this very concrete cause and purpose, why I do this, is also very crucial. So I actually typically start a conversation with a potential investee companies from that point. Why? What is the reason that you started this business? Why did you think that this could be your business? What is the purpose of your entrepreneurial journey? So these things is also very much linked with the first point, which is determination.
Okay. I think for those of you entrepreneurs, founders, if you're listening, I think this is a great framework for you as a founder also to realize whether you're on the right path or not. Because if you are not very strongly driven by the purpose, there is no point building it, because we all know that building a business takes at least 8 to 10 years of your life, a lot more downs than the ups that you mentioned. So you better do it only if you're really, really passionate about the problem. Exactly. I think that's really how, great. I mean, thank you so much for articulating this, Teru. The problem, and I call this a problem, but it's also a plus, is that in general, founders are very optimistic. You meet any founder and they say, hey, this is a problem that I can solve. I have it. And, no matter what the market says, we will do it, because we're just very optimistic. And I think you need to be optimistic in order to, face all the hardship. But I wanted to hear from you. Have you ever had a moment when a founder pitched an idea to you, and although on paper, none of the business metrics looked possible, but you were completely sold from the time you heard it? Has there been a story like that?
Interesting question. We have invested in actually many companies that was only at the idea level or pre-product launch level, and then that's actually where we consider as a very early inceptional stage, which we're happy to take a risk together with the founders. Getting to your question, but still we haven't invested in the companies that is not showing anything positive, because if founders are excited, founders see something, because there's a reason for that excitement.
Yeah.
And it's not maybe the large number of traction, but maybe it may be what your friends are telling to you, or what the very initial customers are telling to you, and then you get the hint, tips, or maybe signal of the growth path. Still very small fire, but you see something, right? I think what the entrepreneurs would have to do is really to identify that signal, and I think about how I can amplify that signal, building the product, building the organization, and then make it as a business, right? So I think just getting back to your question, so founders always have something, and it's just a matter of maybe how they present sometimes. Mm-hmm. So when in the conversation that we do is that we try to draw and then derive their, again, the cause of their excitement, and also ask what you see as a signal. It could be very, very early signal, but tell us, what are the early signals that you're seeing that excite you? So we started from our conversation from that end, and then discuss out with our founders. And then if we also see the clear picture visualized, how this small signal gets larger, amplified to become a business, then actually we make a bet, and then we try to go through the same journey with the founders. So something even at the very, very early days.
Got it. Got it. Great. Thank you so much for that. And if I were to, you must be obviously getting a lot of people, a lot of ideas coming your way, a lot of founders reaching out, and so on. So it obviously becomes really difficult to pick and choose and to realize what is working, what is not working, and all of that, right? So I wanted to kind of quickly take a slight deviation and understand more from a day in your life. And what I would love our audience to kind of get a sense of is how do you really manage all the inflows that come in? Is it like you have a team which filters these ideas for you, or do you get to see all of them? How does that work?
But it's always fascinating me, how creative the founders are bringing their ideas and building their businesses. So I never get bored, first of all. But also at the same time, of course, it keeps me pretty tight in my daily lifestyles. So, like, of course, nowadays I'm just getting on calls, Zooms, like literally more than a dozen calls per day, or maybe like sometimes 15 or sometimes 20. I don't know. I don't count it.
Wow. Okay.
But that's one. And then also, just when it comes to new investments that we make, thankfully, it mostly from referrals, from the people that we know, from the founders that we have backed, from the co-investors that we have worked together. So, you can see, from each referral or route, or you can see, the business angle or the taste of the business. And also, thankfully, given this community and then trust in between, I think my life is getting much easier, because it's not only us who does this activity, but it's all of us who support this entrepreneurial journeys of founders. So I think it's beautiful to define this, this venture capital type of work, because it's really collaborative, and we can bring what we have in the table, and then we can build a business together with the founders, and then with other co-investors, and with any parties who are supporting the businesses. So that's my take. And then very primitively, I think the tools that I use is the very heavy tools is still email and WhatsApp.
Okay.
Particularly with our Indian friends, the communication is mostly on WhatsApp.
Okay.
And then I'm based out of Singapore, right? So there is a 2.5 hour differences, which keeps me pretty busy in the nights as well, because of this time difference. Like when I'm in dinner, then there's another WhatsApp call, WhatsApp messages. So that's actually what's my daily lifestyle, but which I'm very happy to chat with our founders, with our partners anytime. So
Right.
I would mention that way.
That's amazing. Great. So email and WhatsApp, that's your productivity tools. That's good to know.
Yes. Of course, we use like a tool like Notion,
Yeah.
and other collaborative tools. But I think the heaviest tools that I still use is email and WhatsApp.
Right. Got it. Okay. So just moving on to another section, Teru, what we are starting to see in India, while the marketplaces and payments kind of started to take off with so many players, Now we are over the last 1.5 years, we are seeing the evolution of direct to consumer brands, where now people are using the internet as the main distribution channel and directly talking to consumers on, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and so on. I'd love to understand, what do you kind of think about the direct to consumer segment? Is that something that BEENEXT looks at? And what's your view on it?
Right. I think this D2C phenomena is happening because of some backgrounds. One is definitely this evolvement of internet platforms, including social media, payment infrastructure, marketplaces, or Shopify type of, or do digital yourself type of tools, or cloud. So it's all available, which was not available 15 years back, 20 years back. So I think this is one.
Yeah.
Two, after the industrial age, we've been gone to this far for mass production, mass consumption, but now internet is connecting everywhere in the globe. And then because of data, because of our life on the internet, we are now getting into the next phase, which is quite opposite of mass produce, mass consume, which is more customized, bespoke, best fitted, more efficient, and maybe more sustainable. So I think this, industrialization, manufacturing, consumer habit is also bringing this D2C phenomena upwards. So it's about technological infrastructure and readiness.
Yeah.
And then supply chain evolvement and then sophistication. I think these two are the key backgrounds of this D2C. And then with this, we try to identify what are the platforms which can empower these type of D2C phenomena, which gives a power to individuals or influencers or more customized way. So as an example, we invested in a company called ShipRocket. And then we also invest in a company like Instamojo, or in Southeast Asia, in Indonesia, we also invested in a company like Raina for beauty and skincare, new retail or social commerce type of businesses. We also invested in a company called Teru. It's a social or video blogging platform which also facilitates some D2C commerce transactions. So these are we consider more as empowering platforms.
Right.
Empower these, or again, the so-called D2C phenomena, which is becoming possible, or due to those two reasons that I prior mentioned. So that's actually how we try to facilitate this D2C phenomena.
Got it. So it's interesting that you basically backing companies which help D2C companies, take products to their customer. So that's a very interesting way to kind of do this, because it also goes back to your original thesis of platforms and payments.
Exactly. So that's pretty much in a similar line.
Got it. Great. All right. So Teru, we are just going to go now into a set of questions which will be largely require just 1 or 2 word answers. So it becomes a lot easier for you. And so this is more like a rapid fire sort of a thing. My first question would be, what is the fastest in terms of time you have taken to say yes to investing in an idea?
I would say 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Wow.
I think in a longer meeting, I think it's actually in 1 hour. Most typically, we try to understand the essence and determination, and then cause of the business, cause of the founder, and the potential of the business. We try to identify early because it's early stage of businesses. So actually, if you ask our founders how we made an offer, I think there will be pretty similar answers from them. So it's actually pretty quick.
Great, great. I mean, that is definitely very quick. A 10-minute or a 1 hour is incredibly quick.
Because we do some more due diligence after.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's one red flag that you look out for during an investment pitch?
Well, I think again, really back to the prior topic that we discussed. I think if there's a lack of determination,
right,
regardless, we wouldn't go for it.
Got it.
So the founders has to be really determined to build that business.
Yeah. Great. Do you regret saying no to a company that later on became very, very successful?
There are many.
Right. Great. And the last question I have in this section, Teru, is this. If you had to place your bet on one sector in the coming year, what would that sector be?
Yeah. Maybe it's not a sector, but I would say, there's a significant change. Of course, we all know BC and AC, meaning here, how you meet with people, whether you go to office, how you build business. So I'm actually looking after this Corona native startup. Starts from this year, where you have to build your product remotely, where you have to collaborate within the team remotely, where you have to sell remotely, where you have to do marketing remotely, maybe some small office, but normally not much office. So the cost structure, how you build a culture, how you build the product and ship the product at this time, particularly, is going to be very different. And I think it's it somehow projects some future nature of how you build tech services. So I'm actually looking after the teams, companies who are actually standing right now in 2020.
Got it. That's interesting that you call it the AC and the BC thing, the after COVID and before COVID. And I think the ways of doing businesses has completely changed. We ended up launching a D2C brand during a lockdown. And the dynamics were completely different from what we would have done earlier. And we are also seeing the emergence of a lot of software which has become relevant in the post-COVID world. But do you think, Teru, that this is more a fad, that it will kind of die down? Or do you think it's brought a permanent change in the nature of things?
I think it definitely accelerated adoption of technology or adoption of remote collaboration, these things. And then once things get more normalized, we'll be back to some extent, but not to the same place. So it's more like a spiral progressing. So because spiral growth is more, you don't get back to the same place, but on a higher end, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be more spiral or process that will be back, but we won't be back to the situation that we used to.
Got it. Great. Thanks for that insights. So with that, Teru, I come towards the end of this conversation and really wanted to thank you for sharing some of these amazing insights. I personally take back a lot in terms of how I'm going to look at my business as well. So this was very useful. Anything that you would want to leave, a lasting thought, anything that you would like to tell budding entrepreneurs or founders as a last note?
Sure. Well, thank you, Dhimant. And this is I'm really grateful, for having me here. You know, I think just as an ex tech entrepreneur myself, you know, I think this COVID situation is really tough one, not easy, but also I would believe that it's a testament
Mhm.
for people like us, for our resilience and creativity.
Right.
So, you know, the people said crisis is the mother of innovation, or like necessity is also mother of, you know, invention. I think it's really true.
Right.
So it's really time for us, for the founders, to showcase our creativity. So, and then in particularly in India, you know, I think in the long term, anyway, there's a huge potential.
Yeah.
And then I think the business deals happening today is going to be the future. So I'm really encouraged, and I'm really, you know, looking forward to interacting with a lot more future founders in India. Thank you very much.
Great. On that note, thanks a lot, Teru. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was our episode with Teru on the backers of India's best ideas. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, any comments, please feel free to write to us at contact@thebetterindia.com. We're always looking for your suggestions, your ideas. And also, if you believe there are some people we need to bring on the show, just feel free to write to us about them. So thank you once again for listening to Backers of India's Best Ideas. I look forward to meeting you in the next episode.